everybody. Welcome to the $300 Starter Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jose Burgos, back with another episode with tips, tricks, and basically my journey in audio form to be able to help you through your journey. And that's what we're here to do, man. I'm very excited about today's episode. I just recently met my guest, and he's an incredible person, and is even more incredible for coming on this podcast and giving you guys some great value. It's my pleasure to introduce Damion Maragh. Damion, what's up, man?
What's going on, Jose? So glad to be with you today.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, I never know how to exactly answer that question. So a little bit about myself is that I'm really passionate about what I do. I really do care for people as best as I can. I try to take care of all the people that are around me. And I just want to be able to invest in people to make an impact in this world. I really believe that this world is not made up of earth and dirt and water. It's made up of the people that inhabit it. And as a result of that, I want to be able to give my best to people and bring the best out of the people that I come in touch with.
Oh, that's incredible, man. Listen, that is the soul of what business is supposed to be about. But not only business, what a person should be like, man. And for the listeners, trust me, Damion is for real about this. But anyways, you'll find out more about Damion as we go through this conversation. Damion, so where did you grow up, brother?
For me, I grew up in New York, not the city, Long Island. I grew up right outside of New York in a small town called Roosevelt, Long Island. Great place to grow up, if I do say so myself. Maybe not where I'm going to head back to, but definitely enjoyed growing up there.
Sweet. So what were your interests growing up? Did you know what you wanted to be early on, or did it take time for you to figure it out?
I thought I knew what I wanted to be early on. If you had asked me this question back when I was about 6, 7 years old, I would have told you that I wanted to be a superhero.
Oh, all right. What type of superhero?
It had nothing to do with the powers. I remember I talked about this in school and I said, oh yeah, I want to be a superhero. People laughed at me and said, well, they're not for real. And, superpowers don't really exist. And I said, well, Batman doesn't have any superpowers.
True.
So
right.
About superpowers.
Although I'm going to hit you with one. Batman's superpower was having a lot of money.
Yeah. That's the best superpower you can ever come across.
Absolutely. Who needs to fly when you can buy anything you want?
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, man. What about role models growing up? Did you have any role models in and out the house?
For me, I had one role model that really spoke a lot to me, and it was Dr. Martin Luther King. Incredible. When I was in fifth grade, I actually memorized this whole I Have a Dream speech, and I used to present it everywhere that I went. That's actually the beginning of my public speaking career, too. I used to get paid just a little bit, this is back in the 90s, to be able to go and present that. So that was pretty much my role model. I like that he used his voice to be able to influence other people, that he was able to create movements, and all of that back in the 60s. So that was pretty much what I really saw as a role model back then.
Not only in the 60s, but yeah, right. The hectic times of the 60s, the aggressive time for incredible. That's awesome. That's probably the best answer we've gotten so far, by the way. And I know it's honest from the heart. So, So I want to rewind a little bit to what you were saying there. So, you specialize in soft skills training and keynote speaking. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we told the people about that. Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, what does that entail?
Oh, absolutely. So, of course, you have the hard skills or the technical skills that you have in order to be able to do your job. And those are really good. It's just that in today's world and probably all throughout history, what really got work done was not just the technical skills, but being able to work together with other people and also to be able to work effectively within yourself. So soft skills are intrapersonal and interpersonal skills. Some of those interpersonal skills are things like tenacity or things like resilience and making sure that we're not impacted negatively by the negative events that happen with us. And those are some of the skills that I try to teach other people because they are skills. These are not things that just come up in certain people and certain people have it and other people don't. These are actual skills that just about anybody can learn to make whatever they do more effective.
Can we get a few examples of those skills? Like, what are those skills that we have to work on?
Absolutely. So when it comes to resilience, one of the coolest things that we're going to be able to do as far as a skill is to be able to separate what's said to us versus how we decide to take it. We have no control over what a person says to us. We have all the control over how we take it and what we're going to do as a result of it. So with that, we're able to listen to whatever a person says and then be able to respond more effectively. For example, and if I can just give one example of how this can work, If someone says something that disagrees with what our position is, we don't always have to be riled up about it. What we can do is show the person that we understand their position without necessarily telling them what our position is. And in my life, this happens all the time where someone would say something that I believe is completely crazy. And instead of me losing my mind and say, well, this person's just a complete moron, that's not very helpful.
Not at
I'd
all.
just say, oh, wow, what it sounds like what you're saying is, and I'll summarize what they say. Just like that, we're able to build a better connection, potentially work together in the future, have no animosity. And guess what I get to do? I get to go home, and because I held my peace, the person has no idea what I'm really thinking about anything, but it's a peaceful environment, and I get to be able to maintain my own peace.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, this not only applies to business. This is just daily life, daily practical life.
Yeah, this is daily practical life, everyday life, not just business. And even with a phrase like that, because of how my life is set up, regular life is business. For most people, we spend over half of our life at work. So at least half of our life is regular business. And then if you include the commute, the overtime, the rest of the things that we do, most of our life is business. So it is practical life, but at the same time, most of practical life is business, really.
It sure is. And and just like a business, if you run it and you make shitty decisions, then, your life, if you make shitty decisions and you don't treat it like a proper business, you're
Yep.
not going to succeed. I
Yeah.
think anybody who's interested in this podcast or is listening to this podcast is definitely somebody that's either about to make the jump to leave their daily job,
Uh-huh.
or, needs these skills that, you pretty much have mastered or that you specialize in, to be able to make that jump and get that confidence, me, myself included, because once again, I'm on this journey as well. I'm trying to leave my day job. I'm trying to start my own company. Well, I have my own company, but I'm trying to make it successful enough to take care of my family. And
Yes.
this is the conversation for anybody who's in that position. Let me ask you something that may sound random, but I'm getting to somewhere with it. Have you ever heard of Stoicism?
Stoicism, yes, I have.
Okay. Now, when you were just telling me everything that you were telling me about the soft skills of life, the thing that kept ringing off in my head is stoicism, stoicism, stoicism. Can you relate that in any way, or is it completely different? Or
Well, Stoicism is not quite what we're doing here. I believe when you say Stoicism, you talk about the ancient Greeks with the Stoics, where they believe that you have to quell your emotions.
correct?
With soft skills, it's not so much about quelling your emotions or not displaying your emotions, but being able to feel your emotions a bit more effectively. So, for
Okay,
example, anger is not bad, in my opinion. There's no emotion that's bad. It's about how we choose to express that and what are the results of that. And
okay,
stoicism, it might be good sometimes to not be able to show emotions, and having a military background for me, that might come across as good sometimes, but it's not necessarily stoicism or how to quell your emotions. It's about how to deal with your emotions more effectively
gotcha.
and
Incredible.
even
Okay,
display them more effectively as well.
okay, awesome. Yeah, because the link that I see is you actually answered that perfectly. But the link I see is in the fact that Stoicism practices the whole aspect of you can't control everything, and you should really spend and focus your energy on the things you can control as
Yeah.
opposed to the things you can't control. So I can see where they related a little bit, but you did an awesome job there separating those two. All right, man. Let's get back to the questions here that I got for you. In your household, was finances ever a thing? Did you guys talk about finances? Did your parents talk about finances? Any of that stuff?
Looking back, I don't have a single memory of a single time where we even talked about finances in my home. I had
Okay.
no idea that how finances worked. I had no idea that how bills needed to be paid. My household was a little bit different than most, but we never talked about it. I don't know if it's because we never had a chance to be able to get across talking about it, but we just never did.
Did that affect you negatively or positively? Did it drive you or did it hinder you to get to this next level when it
I
comes to
have no
finances?
idea. I would have to probably take some time to quantify that, but the truth is that I have no idea how it might have helped me on my journey or hurt me. Do I wish that we had more conversations about finances? I can say that I wish that we had it, but that's because I'm where I am right now, where I love talking about finances and I love being able to discuss it with just about anybody. I just know that growing up, it was never something that was ever mentioned.
Gotcha. Do you talk about it with your kids now?
Yeah,
Oh,
of
they're young. They're very young, of course. But I
course.
I know Damion personally, guys.
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, we do talk about with our kids. We
okay.
take them shopping. We sometimes have them pay for. We sometimes have them pay for the food that or
Awesome.
whatever we got while shopping. We play games with them. in order to get them accustomed to financial literacy. So it is something that we do discuss now.
Okay, really cool, man. So when did you know that you wanted to be a business owner? Did it just randomly hit you, overnight? Did it take a while for you to transition to it? What was that like?
Oh man, I'm one of those people that I kind of just fell into it. And it just came up where this was pretty much the only option that I really had. It's not something that I was pursuing initially, but after it got started, I realized that this is exactly what I wanted to do. So back in my teens, this was probably my first business. Everyone else was getting their summer jobs. I don't know if you remember it. It was like around when we were 14 years old or so. We got our working papers. We got permission to be able to go and get these simple jobs. And for me,
Absolutely.
I wanted one of those jobs myself, but I wasn't able to get one of those. Everyone else got the job as the bagger at the grocery store, or to be able to do like little things. For me,
Sure.
I never made it through with one of those. And I was bummed out at first, but on my way walking back home, because back then we had to walk everywhere. On my way walking back home from the grocery store, I just thought, what would happen if people let me deliver their groceries? And I'll tell you, this is back in 2002 or so.
Interesting.
And I just started knocking on the doors on the way back home, and I got my first 4 clients doing it that way. It wasn't
Really?
to be able to go to the grocery store and to be able to just deliver their groceries. So with that, as a teen, I kind of fell into it where I couldn't find a job like everybody else. Now, fast forward to me being adult, and this is over 10 years after that experience. And after college was done, there weren't that many employment opportunities for me, but I knew that I had certain skills that could be monetized. And I said, okay, since no one else is going to give me the job, what am I going to do to be able to build a job and an income for myself? And that's where I started being able to delve into my own business.
And that's at the age of 14?
Oh, no. That was
Oh,
at
okay.
18, that's when I did the grocery delivery
Gotcha,
business.
gotcha, gotcha.
And who
That
knows?
was
I could have been Peapod one day if I
early
sucked.
entrepreneur. Early
I
entrepreneur,
know.
man. I love it.
But no,
That's
about
incredible.
24, that's when I decided to go into the other business for myself.
Okay. By the way, before I even continue this, and I am actually ashamed of myself for not stopping you and saying it when you told me, you just said that you were a military man. Veterans Day just passed. I thank you for your service. I'm sure everybody who listens here thanks you for your service. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh,
Would you mind sharing a little bit insight about the military? How old were you? Why did you go? Anything that you can share about it or no?
yeah, definitely. I joined the military back in 2012. And for everyone that says thank me for my service, I just want to let everyone know that the pleasure was all mine. I enjoyed just about every
Awesome.
moment of it. I enjoyed being able to serve my country and to be able to serve the citizens of this great nation. So I just want to
Thank
say
you
that
so
the
much.
pleasure is all mine. It was back in 2012, and you would not believe it, but I just needed some time to be able to build a solid income at the time. That's
Okay.
really where I was at life. I was married. We had been married for about 2 years at the time, and we had lost our home, lost all of our money. I wasn't working a very good job at the time, and the military was really all that I can think of back in around the year 2012 when I first joined. So we needed a solid income. And come to find out, the day that I enlisted, we found out that she was pregnant with my first child.
Wow. Oh
So
man.
we kind of needed it at the moment. What the military was able to do for me was that it provided me a solid income. It gave me a new environment with new people to be able to relate to, because we had people coming from all different parts of the country, all converging in one place. And I was able to see that people were a lot different than the people where I'm from. With that, I learned how to relate to other people. I learned how to relate to different styles of communication. And all in all, there was a lot of time for me to be able to just think. For a lot of other people, they use their time to exercise, to master video game playing skills. So if anyone here likes playing online games and you find out that somebody was in the military, just be prepared to lose, because they
Oh.
master being able to play video games.
That's
For
a
me,
fun fact. I didn't know that. I did not
oh
know
yeah,
that.
definitely. If you ever feel like you're just getting slaughtered by any of these online games, you better believe that it's most likely someone that has had time to be able to master this. But with us, we kept a very good schedule. For
Yeah.
me, I decided to use my free time to be able to study up, to be able to listen to podcasts, to be able to invest in myself. And because the money was there and food was just readily available, I didn't have to touch the money there. I didn't feel any need to buy anything else. And during the months that I was away, I was able to stack up a little bit of money, all while being able to invest in myself. After my training and after the time that I was away, I was able to come out with a clear plan, with clear ambitions to say, here's what I'm going to do next. So that's what the military really did for me, is that while I was able to serve other people, be able to develop an income, to be able to use all my spare time and all my free time to be able to invest in myself, to be able to build my life.
That's incredible. So you pretty much just hacked your way into just like pretty much time traveling, man. You just literally just put yourself in a show where you can absorb as much information as you can, and pretty much get ahead of anybody who pretty much does nothing with their day, is what it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
How much of that, I like to talk a lot about routines. I'm a big routine guy myself. I have a very early morning routine. I have a nighttime routine. Do you have any routines? Can you speak more on routines? Since you were in the military, I'm sure you had some there. And now in life, how big are routines?
Oh, routines are everything to me. Where routines enable me to do, and this is just me personally, so I don't know if I was going to work with anybody else. But for
Right.
me personally, what routines do is that it saves my thinking energy. See, I think that my energy is finite. And if I give my energy to one thing, then it takes it away from everything else. What routines do is that it puts things on autopilot, so I don't have to think as much on when I'm going to wake up, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear, all those
Yeah.
different things. So I can save all that energy and then put it into my creativity. So that way I'm not as
Bingo.
exhausted as if I'm trying to do something else. So for me, my routine, wake up every morning at 4 o'clock. I understand not everyone else is going to do that. Not everyone believes they're a morning person. For me, my children, they get up about 7 o'clock or so. Or they get up at 6:30 and we start getting ready from 7 to 8 to get them ready to go to school. But for me, from about 4 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning, that's when I do my reading. That's when I do my studying. That's when I do my preparation. That's where I make sure that my day starts on the right path. Nothing to think about. I wear just about the same thing every single day of my life. So it's just routine. Now, the
Yeah.
reason I wear the
Yeah.
same thing is because I don't want to have to wake up in the morning and figure out, oh my goodness, what am I going to wear today?
Oh man, listen, I just had that talk with my wife last night. We're on the same page. Yeah.
Oh,
Like
word.
I give her the Steve Jobs example, right? Where it's like, look, Steve Jobs always had the black tank shirt with the blue jeans, and it wasn't by accident. It's because he didn't want to waste his damn time in the morning figuring out, who am I going to impress today? Is it going to be this one? Is it going to be that one? Should my shoes match my shirt? Like, that's such a waste of time. Such a waste. Oh, I'm right here with you.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I've literally got 6 blue suits and 3 charcoal suits. I've got
That's
only
it.
white shirts.
Boom.
And that's pretty much it. I've got 3 different color shoes, but there's really nothing fancy. I don't have to go shopping that often. If I ever do have to go shopping, I know exactly what I'm getting. I know exactly where I'm buying it from. I wear the same shirt, the same type of sweats every day, just be able to pick and grab one. But that's a routine for me as well. And also when I exercise, I try to make sure I exercise around the same time from 8:30 in the morning until about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. But just like that, that's routine in and of itself. I spend
Yeah.
my daytime hours doing pretty much the same thing. But getting into routines, what it does is that it enables me to be able to make the most of my energy. Since I don't have to think about what I'm going to do, it's already there for me. It gives me the opportunity to kind of step back. And then there's my nighttime routine as well. After I'm done putting the kids to sleep, I spend about an hour or so doing a little bit of extra work. So from 8:30 to 9:30, that's what I do. And then from 9:30 to 10 o'clock every single day, I plan my next day. And here's the reason why. I might be exhausted the day before, but instead of being anxious about what I didn't get done, I just think, okay, here's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And that way I wake up in the morning time, not worried about what I'm going to do, but I already know what I'm going to do. My subconscious has all that time overnight from where I prepared the night before to be able to figure it all out. So I wake up, boom, I know exactly what I'm going to do today. My energy is there. And preserving
That's
my
huge.
energy is everything for me.
That is huge. That is just, I mean, I don't know what the term is nowadays. Value bombs is what I hear, or something like that. But that is just pure value, because I have something similar to you completely, and I agree with you 100%. I just think that when you want to do something, you have to do it. When you want to do it good, you have to do it over and over and over and over again. And the only way that you're not going to be distracted in life, or from any other situation, is by having your body and your mind automatically programmed to
Hmm.
be tuned at that time. I also wake up at 4 in the morning. I'm at the gym by 4:30. I get out of the gym, I do some reading, I
Mhm.
shower, I spend a little bit of time with the kids before school, and then I go off to work. I have two journals that I one for random thoughts, one for just ideas.
Yes.
And then I go. That's how I start my day. I'm programmed to go. And at the end of the night, the only one that I need to learn from you, and I did just learn from you, is I don't set up my next day the day before, but I do get some work in. I do get some reading in before bed, and that's important to me because I used to watch way too much Netflix, man. Like, I mean, way too much Netflix. So, yeah, man, that's very awesome. Value, guys. Anybody who's listening, you need routines.
Oh yeah.
It's you will not stick to anything if it's not programmed for you to do it every single day. I promise you that. And if I'm wrong, please comment. Let me know how it is that you're doing it. All right, Damion, let's talk about your business.
Okay.
So, what type of business is it overall? Name of it, size of it, anything you can get into.
Well, right now I'm in the process of rebranding, so I'm glad
Sure.
to be able to announce that my business is just pretty much my name, HD Mirage Consulting. That's
Awesome.
what it is right now. And what it is just a way to be able to share soft skills with people. So communication skills, productivity, interpersonal skills, just to be able to share those with people to make people more effective at whatever it is that they desire to do.
And how long you been? How long has this current company been active?
Well, the current company itself has only been there for about 4 weeks now.
Okay, nice
But
transition. But
yes,
the
I'm
one before it,
transitioning. What do you say?
but the business that you're in now, the one before it, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, I've been doing this now for about 4.5 years.
Okay, fantastic. Now, if you could explain to somebody who either has a new business and hasn't embraced it yet, or is on, thinking about starting their business, what are the advantages of being, a business owner nowadays in 2019?
Oh my goodness. There are so many different advantages. The first one is the first advantage that I've been able to experience is to be able to demand how much you want to get paid.
Okay,
You can
give me some
invoice
more.
certain things for certain services. It doesn't necessarily have to be by the hour. It's just that whenever you send out an invoice to somebody else, you get to choose how much you want to be able to pay yourself. And if a person is paying a business, they're usually willing to pay more than a check written out to an individual.
Absolutely.
So that's actually really cool. You can also make your business sound bigger than just yourself, which is just fine as well, which is probably why certain other companies are willing to cut a bigger check for a business than for a person.
True. Those are
So
very good points.
yeah, so that's one of the benefits that I found for myself. Because if it's just coming to me as a person, they think, oh yeah, you're gonna come and you're gonna talk for about an hour or so. With that, an hour of work, that's at most about how much? And it's like,
Yeah,
well, it wasn't really just an hour of work. But if you're thinking about a company that's putting together an entire production, they're like, oh, now we're outsourcing this to a company.
guys.
That's one of the
Yeah.
benefits. What do you say?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that's one of the major benefits that I've been able to find for myself is being able to charge more and being able to set myself up for better financial success.
Okay, and is there downsides?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of downsides.
Give me one.
So whenever you start a business, we've always heard about people becoming their own boss. But
Right.
what we haven't heard much of is that in addition to being your own boss, you also have to be your own worker.
Interesting. Give me more.
So as your own boss, people say, well, yeah, you choose when you have to work and you choose when you're not going to work. You have all the freedom in the world. But at the same time, since you're your own worker, you have to let that boss in you to tell you exactly when you're going to work. And sometimes you have to be more strict on yourself as your own boss and as your own worker, pulling double duty than it was just being a worker and being able to be told what to do. So yes, you
Oh.
do get to be your own boss, but also remember that you have to also be your own responsible worker and to know that you can potentially one day fire yourself by accident. You're not working.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's so true. I didn't think about it that way. That is
Yes.
fantastic.
One
All
of the
right,
biggest
so go
Oh,
ahead.
I
I'm
was gonna
sorry,
say
man.
another
No.
struggle as far as thinking about bosses is that some people they leave one boss at one job, they start their own business, and they don't realize that every client now becomes your boss. So you leave one boss and you now have 12 more if you have that many clients. So you have to find a way to manage all your new bosses in order to make sure that your business still works for you.
That is
So
true.
remember that as well. And that's been a challenge for me.
Dealing with multiple different bosses.
Yes, dealing with multiple bosses. From their perspective, they're the only thing that exists in the entire world, and you do have to please them. And I do believe that they do deserve to be pleased. But the issue
Sure.
is that each one of them believes that they're the only ones. They're not
Yeah.
aware that there's 11 other people pulling at you in different directions. And being able to balance all of that is also important to let them all know that they're all valued and that you will get the best work done for them.
And do you have any? Have you learned any way to do it effectively, or anything that you've improved on, or tips that you can share?
Oh yeah, I have to make sure that I'm in touch with the clients before they get in touch with me. So if anything is done, even if it's a very small part of the process, to let them know what's going on before they get a chance to reach out to me. The best way that I've ever found to not have people down my back is to make sure that I'm on theirs first. So I've learned to be
Okay.
able to do that. Any progress that's made, let them know. Any hiccups that are made that I foresee, before I try to fight it out myself, let them know what the hiccup is. Also, let them know the time of day that I'm going to be able to work on their project as opposed to the times when I won't be able to work on their projects. And one of the biggest things that I believe that has helped me out is to require people to schedule time with me instead of just thinking that they can pick up the phone, call me, and then I'll answer them right away, to be able to book me for a little bit of time on when I'm going to be available. That way they're not frustrated saying, I've been calling you and you never got back to me. Well, in the beginning, the agreement was that we're going to schedule time together and I will prioritize you when I said I am available. It just makes things flow and work a lot better.
That's incredible. Yeah. Now, do you have this like contractually, or is it just a
Yeah.
spoken word thing? Or okay,
Yeah, I have everything contractually right now.
okay,
Well, and
okay.
I
So you,
use it as an agreement because contract sounds really deep and detailed. I remember one
that
time
is
I
true.
lost an account because I said, "Okay, get your contract." He's like, "Oh, we have to have a lawyer look at this." And my contract is
Ah,
all in plain English. It's really not
yeah,
that serious. There's no legalese in it whatsoever. But this person, because they heard the word contract, we had to delay getting started with something about 2 or 3 weeks because they felt the need to send it to their lawyer before they sent it back to me. So I use the word agreement now because it sounds a lot lighter, even though it's just as legally binding or whatever else you want to say about it. So here's the agreement that we've come to as opposed to here's a contract.
that's a great tip. Hey, listeners, hey, that's value right there. That's golden. I actually got to learn that too. I still use the word contract, and you just talked me into not using the word contract anymore. I also think that I and people that are listening to this episode may have to do a lot of work on on those systems. It sounds like those are beautiful systems that are in place, and yeah, I love that you said that. You know, they don't understand that it's not just them pulling at you. There's 11
Mhm.
other people pulling at you. I struggle with that in business, and yeah, I have a lot to learn that aspect. It's interesting you brought that up. So, in your business, what is your product or service? Is it digital? Is it like you personally? Like, what's the product?
Oh, well, for me right now, there are actually three separate products. I have
Okay,
my keynotes, I have my workshops, and then I have my self-study home courses.
okay. Do you
So
want to
those
get
are,
into each of them?
what do you say?
Do you want to get into each of them a little bit,
Oh yeah,
or
absolutely. With my keynotes, my audience for that is going to be meeting planners, people that are putting on events that need a person on stage to be able to give some sort of value. For
sure?
workshops, it's usually businesses. So these are businesses where they have the technical skills in place. They just need a little bit of help, either with project management, with organization, with communication, with being able to develop the next leader, something like that. They want a trainer who's an expert in something to come in. So that's for the workshops. And then for the courses, those are online, self-paced courses that individuals will go through.
Okay, that's awesome. And do you do personal like you say you consult? So are you an actual product as well? Do you show up? I'm
I
sorry,
only
I might
show
have
up
missed that.
for speeches and for workshops right now.
Gotcha, but you don't
And
actually sit. You don't sit down with an actual company and help them muscle their way through whatever their problem is.
oh no, I'd have to outsource that to other people.
Gotcha.
And there's a reason for that. Back in the day, one of my other companies was doing coaching. And this is also why progression in business is so important. It's okay to be able to pivot. As I said, I started a new company just a few weeks ago. And part of it is because I've learned more about what I want out of my life. So I'm able to shape it a little bit better. At one point, I
Awesome.
was offering coaching and personal type of consultations, and it was somewhat lucrative. The issue is that I would have to sell those about 4 months in advance. We schedule it out week by week to be able to work through something, and the person was only paying a certain amount of money. At the time, it was only $120 a session.
Okay.
So over the course of 10 weeks, we would just round it off to be $997 for that, and to get the few weeks free. Now that's pretty
Okay.
cool, being able to get about $1,000 per client for one person. The issue is that when it came to speaking, the minimum was about $5,000. And because I had time scheduled with this person for $100, I had to say no to $5,000. I just realized for me that this probably wasn't going to be something that was going to scale me to the point where I really want to be. And of course, that was one-on-one coaching. With group coaching, I guess it's a little bit different. But for me, I realized that this wasn't going to give me everything that I needed. I'll be so much more busy giving my one-on-one time with people than I was being able to speak to an audience of about 200 people.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So
That's a
that's why I
solid
don't do
answer.
personal sit downs anymore.
And
There
that's a
are
valid
people that
reason.
do
Yeah.
that, by the way. And I know I have plenty of friends that are excellent at being consultants. They have no passion of getting on stage. They love being able to work with a person on a team for 16, 18, 20 weeks or so. They're there for the long haul. You hire them for that, and they do a phenomenal job. I just know that that's not where my strength is.
Okay. And now that we're on that topic, how do you feel overall about outsourcing?
Oh, outsourcing is you've got to do it. Outsourcing is just amazing. You've got to be able to build a network because no one person is going to have everything that it's going to take. So whenever you have something to do, yes, you can do it yourself. You might feel like it's going to be okay. Oh my gosh, I'm going to save so much money by doing it myself. But how much peace are you going to achieve for it? Or
Right.
what are you going to have to pay in the back end because you did it yourself? So
I like
yes,
how
you
you.
can do a lot by yourself, but there are other people that are willing to do it. And what you're actually paying for is your own personal peace of mind to focus on what you do best. Now, if I can give an example of something I need to outsource, I'm very good at building websites. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's worth being able to outsource that to somebody else. And even if you check out my website, it's not always up to date. I haven't updated my website in the past 4 years because I just don't like doing it. If you
Yeah.
check it out on a desktop computer, it looks great. The color scheme is amazing. People looking at it and say, "Oh wow, this is really nice." But the internet has moved so far in the past 4 years, and I haven't kept up with it. Why? Because I simply don't like doing this.
Yeah.
So the best thing that I can do is to outsource it to someone that enjoys it and thinks that this is the most valuable use of their time. It's just not the most valuable use of my time. And it
Right.
does need to be done. So I should be outsourcing it.
And that person that loves to do it is going to give you their A+ effort because they're super excited to do it and they're ready to roll with it. Yeah. I just recently got into outsourcing. Not so much because I didn't think it was a good idea, but more because financial. I just didn't have the money to outsource it, right? So I started learning the concept of like baking it into the price, right?
Hmm.
So, just having it in there already if you need to outsource it and let somebody else handle it. But I love the way you framed it as how much peace are you willing to give? Because a lot of people just say, what's your time worth? And that kind of it's true. They're both kind of in the same realm, but that one is more like you're in this for the money. When the other one is more like, no, I could just be doing what I like to do on the side, like writing a book or something like that. And
Hmm.
I have all that extra free time and it has nothing to do with money, but yes, it can make me money in the long run. But yeah, yeah. In order to be creative, I like how you framed that. That was fantastic. All right. Let's shift. Can we shift this conversation over to the competition?
Sure.
Do you know who your competitors are? Do you care about them? Do you think about them? How do you handle
I absolutely love all of my competitors. I
them?
have
Nice.
so many. And the way that I see competition is not just the people that are directly competing with me, not the people that offer the same exact service, but what is someone going to do if they don't come to me? So, for example, now this is a bit of a stretch. I know it is, but Netflix is my competitor.
Oh, give me more. Good.
Netflix is my competitor. Hulu's my competitor because I'm trying to be able to produce content that people are going to spend their time with. They're going to spend from 6 o'clock in the evening to 7 o'clock in the evening investing in themselves by going through one of my courses. Now, what can someone else do between 6 and 7? They could be on Netflix. So what I have to
Yeah.
do now is figure out how do I get them off of Netflix and onto investing in themselves. So while Netflix is a very distant person from me, I'm thinking about what my client is going to do with their time, how I desire for them to spend their time through my services, and then finding out what are their other options in life. And Netflix is definitely one of those options. So that's where the I see competition. Now, for the closer competition, in the speaker industry, we like to say that there's no competition, but of course, there really is. Now, the reason why I say there's no competition is because if someone goes there the year before at a conference and they completely kill it, like it's just the most amazing thing ever, the next year they're not going to call them back again because they already had them. They want someone fresh and new no matter what.
Right.
And as a result, the speaker industry has been very supportive. At the same time, there's only space for one speaker per event or one speaker per room. It's not unlimited. So because of that, I do need to find ways to stand out from the rest to show that I'm the best. At the same time, I said that I love my competition as well. And here's the reason why. There was one time when they were looking for a military speaker, someone with a military background to be able to present at this conference. I put my name in the hat. I have a military background. Someone else put their name in the hat. And when I found out this other person's story about being a Purple Heart recipient, about being a prisoner of war, about all the different things that they've experienced as a soldier, they're my competition. I withdrew my name and I said to the clients, that's the person you need.
Yeah.
You need that person on your stage, and I need to be in the audience to hear them. So that's what I mean by I like my competition, because I just want to make sure that my client gets whatever the best is for them. Whether it's going to be with me or somebody else, I love my competition because they let me be able to focus on what I need to do. I get to support them. The client gets the best, and also I'm pushed to be my best.
Fantastic. I want to touch on the topic there of because you want to pull people. And by the way, that I've never heard it said like that. Like I've heard a lot of people say that they're storytellers. I've heard a lot of people say that they're creative geniuses. I've heard a lot of different things, but I've never heard anybody ever say it in that fashion of you basically saying that you need to pull people away from Netflix, and that Netflix is your competitor. That is an awesome, awesome, aggressive, just really good way of thinking about it. Now, my question to you is for people that are not investing in themselves, right? So the people that are on Netflix, what is the value of investing in yourself? Why should they be investing in themselves?
I haven't met someone yet that believes that investing in yourself is not valuable, even if they don't do it themselves. So most of us deep down inside, we're convinced that investing in ourselves is a very valuable experience. Now, if someone's not doing it, then I would want to encourage them to start spending just a little bit of time with doing this. Can you listen to sound bites? Can you get on Alexa and put together an Alexa skill? And just let the person know that if you were to just become a fraction of a percentage better every single day, over time, you get so much better. And I really believe with personal development, with personal growth, if a person invests just a little bit in themselves, they get the ball rolling, they can become addicted into it as well. They realize the value of it once they start experiencing it.
Definitely.
I don't know if that answers your question
No,
because I don't.
it definitely did. No,
Okay.
I think that just investing in yourself is just the compound effect, right? It's just that whole
Mhm.
thing of that you're able to change your circumstance if you just put a little bit of something into yourself, and then like you said, eventually that little bit of something just snowballs into this whole massive amount of something, and that's truly incredible. Now, investment is I call a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
So we just talked about the personal development, that type of investment. What about financial investment? How should somebody approach financial investment?
Financial investment as far as paying for my product, or financial investment in terms of like.
Of just your retirement savings, right? Just what are you putting anything away? Should people save money? How should they save money? That type of financial investment.
Oh man, that's a lot. I'm not quite a financial advisor. I'm probably not even doing
Okay.
the right things myself. So for me, I'm not actually invested in stocks like that.
Okay.
Now for my wife, she works at a hospital. She gets a 401k, and some people say that you want to invest more in your 401k than what they match. We don't do that for now. What we
Okay.
do, however, is that we invest only what they match because that's a 100% return. So if they match 3.5%, then you put in whatever the max is that they match. You put in 3.5%, they match that. That's a 100% return. I'm not aware of anywhere else that you can get that type of return. Beyond that, though, they only match a small fraction of what you invest. And if we have anything like credit card debt, student loans, the interest rate on the student loans is so far more than what the investment is going to get you. So one of the first things to do is to make sure that we pay off debt. So don't focus on stock investing. Don't focus on building a portfolio. If you have any debt that has interest rates over 7%, pay down the debt first, because there's no point in getting a 6% return on a mutual fund when you have 7% of the debt that's coming out of your paycheck. That means that you're losing 1% of your money every time. What you should do is take whatever money where you were going to invest, pay down the debt, and then after that debt hits zero, then you can start investing in other things. I also am a big believer in investing in myself and other small businesses around me more than I am investing in other types of stocks. And the reason why is because when it comes to my business, if I put $1 into my business as far as for marketing or for anything else, I can definitely make about $20 back, which is a lot more than if I put $1 in the stock market. And that's the reason why I believe in investing in my own business rather than in other businesses that do other things.
That's an interesting approach. Awesome. All right. So how do you market your business? How are people aware of your business and your product and your service?
Well, that's great. How do I market my business? Now, as I said, that there are 3 different products. There are the keynote speeches, there are the workshops, and then there are the digital products as far as the digital courses.
Okay.
With that, there are 3 different audiences. For me, marketing really starts with knowing exactly who your audience is. Who do you want to be your audience? Know who you want to be able to buy from you. And with that, I'm able to start thinking about marketing. So let me start out with the keynote speeches. The first thing I need to know is that it's going to be a waste of time marketing to you for now as wanting to buy my keynote services, because you're not in the market for buying a keynote speaker.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is fine. You're just not the audience. I have to find out who is looking for a keynote speaker. What type of people are doing this? And there are meeting planners. So now I have to be able to pitch my own personal value to those meeting planners. I can guarantee for them that they're not scoping out Instagram to find keynote speakers. If anything, they might look to see how many followers you have, what type of content you have, but they're not scrolling Instagram like, oh, wow, let me see this person. As a result, I don't waste my time promoting my keynote services on Instagram. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but
yes, it does. Yeah.
It's not the best use of a graphic for me right now.
So how do you do? Is it word of mouth for you more? Is it so? How do you do it if you don't use the internet as often?
Oh, for keynotes, I don't use the internet for that. And
keynotes is just word of mouth. You just actually go see these people or reach out to these people.
Yeah, for keynotes, find out wherever there's going to be an event, and then start following that event, find out whoever is in charge of that event. And then in my mind, I need to convince myself that this person is having a hard time doing all the shopping out there. They're having a hard time being able to pick whoever's going to be the right person. And my job right now is to make their job easier. It's to present myself as the easiest solution possible so that they can have peace of mind. So I figure out what conferences are happening around me and in the areas that I want to be able to go speak. And that if those conferences are going on, how do I make their job as easy as possible? So with that, I try to make sure I give them all the material or what they might need, make sure they have to ask me. Well, they're going to ask me questions no matter what, but make sure that it's as easy as possible to obtain the information they need. So instead of it being, hey, go over here and find this information, or Google me and find out, it's like, here's exactly what you need right now, right in front of you. I'm going to give you everything that you need to be able to make a decision to make this easy for you. For keynotes, that's really what it is, because they're not out here scouring the internet trying to find people. That's really hard work for them. My job is to make it as easy as possible for them. Now, when it comes to digital courses, that's a little bit different. For that one, I do have to use the internet, and I need to use it more effectively as well. Okay. And with that one, because I'm dealing with the regular person person that's scrolling while they're watching Netflix, the regular person that's looking at that, and I need to position myself to interest them while they're watching Netflix, scrolling on Instagram to say, oh, look at this. So for that, I do use the internet if I'm dealing with the regular consumer, because regular consumers are on Instagram.
Right, correct. Now, I like to ask this question because one of my biggest things that I enjoy is really good copy.
Yeah.
How important is copy, do you think, in business or just in life in general, or both? Just in being able to present.
Oh, being able to present, being able to write effective copy, I think is essential in business. It's essential in life in general to be able to word things effectively, to be able to make it so that people get a grasp of it, to make it seem like while I'm writing or while I'm talking, the person can say like, yes, that's exactly how I'm thinking.
Right.
So it's really essential to be able to get messages across like that. And for me, writing copy, it actually does not come all that natural. I have to
Okay.
work at it, I have to rewrite, I have to do a lot of other things. But
Yeah.
it's definitely essential. For me, writing letters to people is essential. I want to make sure that people read what I write. This also
Absolutely. Yeah.
this also means that I don't write the same way that I did back in academia, where you have 12 sentence paragraphs, or
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Organized.
start off in a real cold way. I do have fragmented sentences. I use ellipses a lot to be able to lead where people are going to be speaking,
Right.
and to be able to format it so that it's easy for people to read. I use bolds and I press enter a lot to make sure that people are working their way down the page
Right.
without getting too exhausted. I make sure that each sentence is at most fits on one line before they have to move down the page. That way they get in the habit of scrolling and moving up. But it's essential because people will make decisions based on copy, and they will look at how something is shaped, the way that writing is done, and decide whether or not I really want to read this or not. It's
Absolutely.
essential.
Yeah. Yeah, like I like to think back to the guys that when we were growing up, basically when there was no internet, that either made or make or break on the fact that they were sending a letter to your house and you would either open this thing and actually read it and fill it out and send it back, or you would not, and you would just end up in the trash pile. And it was literally these copywriters' jobs to come up with creative and awesome ways to basically just grapple you and get inside your head, like you said, and basically walk you through down to the bottom of the order form to basically tell you why it is that you need 10 CDs for 99 cents, even though you didn't need 10 CDs. I think that's super incredible, and I think I'm so glad you agree. Copywriting is huge. Anybody listening to this podcast, I won't go as far as to say you won't succeed without good copy, but I'm pretty sure 90% of the people that come by you are going to ignore you if your copy is not good, and that's losing 90% of your potential business. But all right, man, let's move away from that. In your opinion, how has technology, such as computers and the internet, changed the scope of your business, of the speaking business?
Well, for me, if it wasn't for the internet and how things came about, I wouldn't be able to do business the way that I do it. The internet has really leveled the playing field for lots of people. One thing that the internet does is that it enables me to be able to create things for a very small amount of money and to publish it. It also reduces my overhead. Can you think about if I were to make courses back in as early as 1997? Yes, there was an internet back then, but it wasn't the way that it is today.
Not
So
even
back
close.
back in 1997, can you imagine what I would have to do? I have to rent studio space. I'd have to use some type of cameras. Because web cameras were really bad back then. I had to get real cameras. I'd have to be able to set aside time to do this. Then I have to sell it to a production company where they have to put the DVDs together, send them out to people, all the mailing and all the boxes that it was going to take. And that would cost a fortune.
Indeed, yeah.
And it did cost a fortune. Like if you had audiobooks back then, oh man, you have to put them on CDs or you have to put them on tapes. There's a lot of material, a lot of space. And audiobooks
Yeah,
were like $500 back then.
yeah,
And
definitely.
and people, the person that made it only made about $70 or $80 per sale on a $500 product.
Right.
Now, what the internet has done for us is that it puts all the information online in ones and zeros and bytes. They're intangible. I'm able to sit in my own home, be able to create with minimal equipment, and at the same time be able to publish to a wider audience. And the overhead is so much better. So now when I sell something for $100, I might make $85 on it. Whereas in the past, so I needed to be able to sell something for $500 just to make 60 or $70.
Right.
So the internet has
And
really leveled the playing field. It has made it so that I can distribute a lot better and also not have to put as much financial investment into it.
and to be able to track all those results and
Oh,
numbers and be able to, like, before it was just like a billboard, like you put it up, you pay $5,000 for the billboard and you have no idea what your return on investment is. You have no idea why they came in, if it was because of the billboard. So yeah, I agree, definitely level the playing field. And I think we're both living proof of it. You can literally start a business right now if you just think about it and just
oh
get on the
yeah.
internet and just start building it. There's no more gatekeepers. There's no more, I need to know somebody to do this, that. You just literally turn your cell phone around and make it happen.
Exactly. Turn your cell
And
phone.
it's nuts, man. Any
Yeah, like
mentors? Do you have any current mentors? Sorry, man,
I,
I shifted on there.
nah, that's all right. I was just gonna say, like, even when I first got started and I wanted to be able to write a book, back in the day, you need to find a publisher. You had to. It was so much to be able to write a book. Nowadays, I just got online. I was able to publish at Amazon and everywhere else. It cost me absolutely nothing to be able to write a book.
You got a book?
Oh, I have 9 now.
Come on, man. Yeah, but listen, off this podcast, we're gonna have a much longer conversation than we have time for, man.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice I didn't mention it. But
Yeah,
it's almost everything is just there now. So as far as mentors go, for me, I think that mentors are really important. I don't have that many close mentors as far as people that I'm actually connecting to on a personal basis, but I do have a number of distant mentors, which the internet has been able to bring to me. They don't even know that they're my mentor most of the time. They don't
okay.
probably even know I exist, but I follow just about every move. One of them, he's a guy, and because I'm saying something positive, I feel comfortable mentioning him, Simon T. Bailey.
Okay.
He has no idea that I exist. Not that many people even know his name, but he's one of the most dynamic speakers I've ever come across in my life. And his style is very similar to mine as far as where I believe how I present and how he presents. So I'll watch him on everything that he does. I'll put him as a C first on all of his social media. I have all of his books, and he's poured a lot into me, even though he might not know exactly who I am. Other people
Gotcha.
that are distant mentors, the ones that we might know, people like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yep.
Let's see, Marcus Lemonis.
Oh
I mean, I
yeah.
watch this guy's TV show. He drops an episode once a week. Guess how many times I watch that episode? I watch it twice a day.
Yeah.
One of the few things that I actually watch on TV, The Prophet, his show. So
The
he's,
prophet's huge value. Huge
oh
value, the
yeah,
prophet. Yeah.
oh
Love it.
yeah. So he's one of my distant mentors. Has no idea that I exist, but I look at him as a mentor because I'm trying to get as much from him as I possibly can.
Absolutely. So distant is just as important as knowing the person personally.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and trust me,
yeah.
if I could know these people personally, then that'd be great too. But
Yeah, right.
right now, this is just an opportunity that I have. What I did know within myself is that I was not going to go mentorless. So just because I couldn't find someone personally, or if at the time I couldn't invest in a mastermind group to be able to find somebody, I wasn't going to let myself be unmentored. There are too many resources available to be able to put people's content in front of my face. And I chose to go that route to have at least, if I can't have a personal mentor, have a distant mentor and just be able to soak up whatever they have.
Where would you weigh in historical mentor? People
Oh,
in history.
historical mentors, of course, I mentioned Dr. King.
Yep,
He's a
absolutely.
big historical mentor for me. And I've gone through all of his speeches. I've memorized I Have a Dream. I've gone through a lot of his inflection, the process behind how he planned and created a movement back in the 60s when there's so much against you. Like, how do you push against all of that to be able to create a movement? So
So
that
to
was me looking
so
at
people I'm sorry, man, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so people should basically, whether it's historical, whether it's actually knowing somebody, or whether it's somebody who's successful. Basically, the point is just to find something to model, something
Oh
that
yeah.
either want to be or want to be like, and basically
Mm.
follow it closely and mimic it. Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, and to find as many as you can too. So don't just
Sure, sure.
find a few that you can, so that way you can pick and choose which you want to apply to yourself.
Gotcha. Incredible. All right. So, what is the future of the speaking business?
The future of the speaking business, this thing is going to really take off. There's a lot more people that are becoming more competent in speaking, and a lot more people that are seeing the value in presentations. So workshops, there's a lot more today than there ever have been in the past. TED Talks, who would have thought that would be a thing where people would actually sit down and watch someone talk on a stage?
True,
But
true.
people are realizing that this is value, that this is how people connect, that this is how people relate to one another. Even things like podcasting. Podcasting is still on the up and coming right now.
Sure is. Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for growth within this industry. People becoming vloggers, where people just turn the camera on themselves and they're able to talk. So this industry is definitely on its way up, where we're going to see a lot more people, even on a part-time basis, enter into this field. And that's perfectly fine because there are a lot more opportunities for speakers. Whereas in the past, there needed to be like a 40,000 person convocation or a 40,000 person conference in order to have a speaker there. Now you have as little as 70 to about 200 people to 500 people, and they all need presenters. So the future this is definitely a growing industry.
Okay, this is a weird question, but it may make sense. Writing greater than speaking or speaking greater than writing?
Hmm. I would say speaking is greater than writing, and let me explain why. Just the perceived value. People would buy books and they'd have every intention of reading it. It's just kind of hard to get in the process of it. More people would even listen to books because you can do that more passively. But with a speaker, people feel like they're more engaged with the person that's there. And as a result, we have to find a way to be able to deliver value with it. And I've also found out that if I condense even a 300-page book down to about an hour or so, people get as much in that hour as they would have gotten by reading all 300 pages, and that would have taken them a month or so.
True.
For me, I'm a little bit different as an author where I'm not always one to mention it because I'm not trying to sell books as far as what my industry is or as far as what my business is. I don't sell books. I have books sell me.
Okay.
And the nuance is important. So I'm not trying to sell thousands of books. I'm trying to say that I have a book which positions me as an expert, and that book can sell me. The book
Sure.
goes for about $15, $15 or $20. I don't even remember right now because it's just there on Amazon. But my speaking goes for about $175 a seat.
Okay.
So my book can sell me and make it more worthwhile for everybody.
And the book is also as an incredible format, in my opinion, to be able to basically share forward for eternity, for the rest of however long books exist, what you've learned over time, right?
Yes.
Your skill set, your education, everything that you've amassed, to be able to leave it behind. I'm a big believer in that. I actually want to write a book myself. And I think it's not only big for being able to leave your thoughts somewhere, but I think for your family as well. Being
Oh
able to
yeah.
leave that legacy of, hey, I may be gone, but my books still live forever, and actually may be able to potentially feed them as well. I think that's
Oh
very big
Oh
and
yeah,
very
that's
huge.
huge. And legacy for me is real important too. Like there's certain people that when I use this statement, I say it all the time. They laugh and think I'm joking, but when I tell them that I'm immortal, they
Okay,
laugh at
give me
me.
more. Give me
But the thing
more.
about that, I know people like you get it because
Yeah,
I'm not
you,
gonna say
you
that I'm
leave
going
it.
to physically live forever, but I'm not going to sit here and live for the next 80 or 90 years and then just drop off the face of the earth and be forgotten. I have to make sure that my name lives on beyond that.
Right,
So that's why I always tell people like, yeah, I'm an immortal.
right.
At least that's what I'm working towards. That's why I'm living my life, is to make sure that even after I'm gone, that my influence is still felt. Like I keep
So,
mentioning my mentor,
go
Dr.
ahead.
King. He's been
Right,
dead
right.
since the 60s, but his impact, his influence continues to live on. And that's real legacy. In my opinion, that's what immortality really is.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I'm glad you brought that up. Yep. Dr. King is not around anymore, and he still has a profound influence in your life
Yep.
because of what he's left behind. And I think the book format can do that. I think a business can do that for somebody
Mhm.
if you do it ethically, right? Like if it's not a corrupt business. And there's many different ways to do that, but we got to think about our kids. All right, we're going to get to the wrap up because we could talk for literally days,
Oh
or
yeah.
I can. But these are just a set of questions that I ask, and you just fire them off as fast as you can get it into your head. The answer, whatever it may be. It's only a few of them, and then from there we'll wrap up. All right. So, what were the hardest parts in the beginning of the journey to starting your business?
The hardest part was niching down. I really thought that niching down was hard. And what I do now is that I realize that I probably shouldn't have chosen a niche in the beginning. Just find out what I like, what I don't like, experiment with a lot of other things, and then a niche will emerge where I can fine tune as I go along. But at the beginning, I wasted about 3 whole months trying to figure out, oh my gosh, what I'm going to do? What would I like? What can I stick with? It would come to find out that what I chose at the time, I didn't stick with. And that's perfectly fine. The point is that I learned more about myself. And as I went along, I was able to niche down further and further.
Okay. If there's anything that you can change about the journey, what would it be?
I would definitely change how I chose to structure my days.
Okay. Schedule
I
wise or mindset wise or
Yes, schedule wise and mindset wise. At at first, I was just trying to be able to replace the income and replace the job and kind of give myself my own 9 to 5. If I could change one thing, I would invest more of my passion into it, where I would schedule around my creativity, like how I do now. I know I can, like right now, 4:00 in the morning, I'm not that creative, but I can pick information into me. Around in the evening time, like around now, I'm very, very creative. And as a result, I'll be able to spit out a lot more information. At the time, I was just saying, okay, everyone else works 9 to 5, so I'm just going to sell up at 9 o'clock, try to work to 5 o'clock, and then see what happens. And treating it like I was a regular job. But I would definitely try to schedule around my own personal energy a lot more and put more passion into that.
Know yourself, people. Know yourself. It's important. All right. What would you say to somebody who's literally on the fence of starting their own business and following their dreams, but are too scared to do so?
Oh, just go ahead and start the business right now and then deal with all the rest of the pitfalls later on. They're going to be there no matter what. Just jump off the fence, go into doing it. And if there are pitfalls, being on the fence doesn't help fill in those pits.
All right. What's your take? What's your ultimate take on fear?
For me, fear, it tells me how good my imagination really is, how big and grand I can actually dream. That's what fear really tells me. So instead of being afraid of it, I start being amazed at myself for even being able to think that big. Am I afraid to be able to write a book? Am I afraid that people are going to accept me? Like, wow, this means the only reason why that fear is even there is because it means I can impact lots of people. Am I fearful of big audiences, fearful to get in front of people to speak? Wow, that means that I'm actually doing something big. So my real take on fear is that it shows me how big I really am.
Awesome, man. Any book recommendations?
Book recommendations right now, I'm always going to have to go with my major books. Psycho Cybernetics is one of them. How to Win Friends and Influence People, classic book. Think and Grow Rich. And since we talked about copy a little bit earlier, The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great book. All right, man. This is where you can plug any of your services or anywhere anybody can find you, man. So where can they find you on the internet?
On the internet, go to my website. It's www.hdmirage.com. And that's HD. Let me just spell it out phonetically. H is in hotel, D as in Delta, M as in Mike, A as in Alpha, R as in Romeo, A as in Alpha, G as in Golf, H as in hotel.com. And everything I have is at HD Mirage. So Instagram, HD Mirage, Twitter, HD Mirage, Facebook, HD Mirage. What you're going to really want to do, though, is be able to click on one of my links and get one of my free resources. It's free for you. Go ahead and grab it, whichever one you want. But the one that I would absolutely recommend is called The Show Goes On. You can buy it on Amazon if you want, or you can get it for free by clicking at my link in Instagram. And what that does, oh my goodness, it's so good because it tells you how to relate to people, their personalities, and how to make it memorable for yourself. So make sure you get that free resource. Do not buy. I mean, go ahead. If you want to pay me money and buy it on Amazon, go ahead. But instead of doing that, please just get it for free. And it's going to really change your world.
Guys, go check it out. If you haven't figured it out by now through this hour and some change that we've been talking, Damion is the real deal, man. This guy does not play. I learned so much just in this hour and a half. And thankfully, I know you personally and I can continue these conversations with you. Yeah. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming here to do this. Damion Maragh, everybody. Episode 19, the $300 startup. Rate, subscribe, share with your friends. This may be able to help somebody who's on the fence or stuck in the business situation or just wants to, learn from incredible people like Damion. Thank you so much, Damion.
Thank you too. It's been my pleasure.
Appreciate you, man. All right, guys. Till the next time. Laters.